Hello, everybody. I am Reverend Yvette Trujillo, and it is so wonderful to be back here with you for our Sunday talk. Yay! And I don't have cane today. I still use it some. It's like a little, some days I need it, some days or parts of the day it's a little bit of a, like a pacifier, like a little nanny, you know, like I guess it's gonna carry it with me just in casers. And then the other days I'm like, no, I need that thing. I need that thing. But it's a delight to be back with you up here. I forgot to do the wireless mic. It was a little busy this morning, so we'll see how this goes. I'm starting out the month, and this month we have a really interesting theme. The name of the theme is The Fear and the Furious. Very uplifting, very exciting. I'm so thrilled to come in on a high note. It's actually really cool. So this month, hello. Can you hear me still? Okay. So I just like to hear myself booming. They have to turn me down a little. Sorry, Jennifer. I'm like, I can't hear myself filling every single corner of the room. Something must be wrong. No. So this month we're exploring the significance of fear and anger in our spiritual development. So I'm actually really excited because this is, anger, fear, some of the taboo kind of feelings and experiences. So I love any time we talk about things that are like in the shadows. You guys know this about me already, right? Stuff that we don't like to talk about. Yay, let's talk about it. Yvette loves to talk about those things. So this week, we're talking about the message from within. I'm starting this month talking about anger and how it has a message for us. So every emotion, every single emotion has its own intelligence. And the intelligence basically is to get our attention. Anger's intelligence is to get our intelligence. It's not actually asking us to attack her. It's not asking us to attack. It's asking us to notice. That's it. It's just asking us to notice. Anger says something important needs your attention. Something is happening that we don't want to happen, that we don't like. Something is happening that we may want to protect. That might be like the way that we look at it. But in reality, anger is just like a check engine light on the dash of your car. Now, for some of us, the check engine light can be quite jarring if it turns on in our car. And I actually saw a little video the other day of an avoider, and that's one way to deal with anger, is putting a little black piece of electrical tape over the check engine light instead of actually going to figure out what the issue is that it's telling you to check the engine, right? So we can deal with the alerts that we have in our lives in many different ways. Check engine light. It doesn't necessarily mean something bad, horrible, terrible. It can be quite innocuous. It's just a light. It's a light in the shape of a little engine. What does it mean? I don't know yet. It's just a light. Ernest Holmes, who is our founder of this wonderful philosophy, religious science, and is the author of the textbook, The Science of Mind, says, we all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphant above them. But we shall never triumph over them while we persist in going through the old mental reactions. So as we continue to react in the same way over and over and over again, we won't triumph over them. We're just going to continue to have the same experiences. So that's from The Science of Mind, page 147. Now, there are different ways that we come to our current interaction or relationship with that check engine light. with that signal, the way that you experience it now. We come to that very innocently. We do. We come to that early on. How do we engage? So many of us were taught, we were socialized, and not just by our parents, by the world. We were taught and we were socialized to engage with the signal of anger, the emotion of anger, to respond to it in different ways, right? We were taught, we were socialized by the world. And some of us were taught that anger was unacceptable. And by extension, when we expressed anger, we were unacceptable. Right? So that was what many of us did. Now, I want you to take care of yourself. I'm going to invite you to do something. But if this is something that you can sense that this is activating or triggering for you, please take care of yourself. The invitation is to think back. Think back to a memory, a young memory when you were a little kid. And feel free, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. To when you were told that your expression of anger was what? Was it okay? Was it wrong? Was it powerful? Did you get in trouble? Or were you praised? What was your experience, as far back as you can recall, when you had the emotion of anger? You can open your eyes now. So, on one side of the spectrum, in so many different ways, it is communicated that anger isn't acceptable, right? That we're not acceptable if we express anger. So many of us learn to hide it, to stuff it down. And then maybe, especially in circles like these or in other spiritual communities, we learned how to spiritualize it away. What does that look like? Let's see. I just need to forgive. Or, love is the answer. Well, yes, absolutely. Love is the answer. But when a boundary is actually needed, and all we do is say that love is the answer, is that a full response? Is that adequate? Or, I release it all to God. Again, yes, lovely, wonderful, but if there's still resentment stewing in your gut because you're really just ticked off, but I'm releasing it all to God, is that true? Is that really happening, or is there something still sitting within you, right? So that is what we call in our circles a spiritual bypass. And that's not helpful. That's not helpful. So that's what I mean when I say spiritualize it away. Or we apologize for our anger before we've ever had a chance to ask what the heck was it about, right? I'm mad and I let it out. I'm sorry. I don't even know what that was about. I'm so embarrassed. You see my cheeks get red. I do that one a lot. I'm so sorry. And I certainly learned this too. I'm on the side of the suppression in my growing up and how I learned to have a relationship with anger. I grew up on the suppression side. And I learned it so well that I tricked myself. Because through much of my adult life, I actually said, I really don't do anger. I feel like what I experience is sadness. Like that's the emotion that I have most, but I don't really feel like I get angry. Now, I love astrology. I don't know if anybody here like astrology? Yeah. I really like astrology. I'm a Scorpio. And I'm not just a Scorpio. Like, I have lots of Scorpio in my chart. A lot of Scorpio. So if you know anything about a Scorpio, it's just like the reputation that we have. It's a bad reputation. I think it's not really deserved. But, we're kind of prickly. We get mad. We have a stinger. We have that stinger. The scorpion has a stinger. So we can be judged as a little, mad or mean or angry or resentful. I saw a thing that said, I found that the crow can hold a resentment towards an individual person for like 17 years, and I think I just found my spirit animal. I was like, I'm not quite that. But, so the Scorpio has some reputation. I was like, oh, I'm not one of those Scorpios. So there's not even an ability for me to embrace any kind of relationship to something that's angry, because I've made anger so wrong and so bad and so what other people do. But here's a really cool thing I discovered not so long ago, which is a human system's emotion wheel, whatever. It's an emotional wheel. It's not, the title at the top is not accurate. It's an emotions wheel. There's lots of different ways that this shows up. This one is one way. And when I started to look at anger, I was like, well, no, I got to do that. I didn't realize that was an expression of anger. I just kind of saw anger as one way of expressing, which was wah, out, lashing out, big, scary, angry. But what I learned is that I had shifted anger into a more hidden and, quite frankly, unhealthy way of expressing it, because it became an internalized expression of anger. That's how I did it. So it becomes self-criticism, anger towards myself, shame and self-blame, anger within. Depression, sad, I do sad. Anger within. Perfectionism, I do perfectionism. That is an expression of internalized anger. People pleasing so that I can avoid anger. Everything's okay, right? You have everything you need, nothing's wrong, everything's in order. Nobody's going to get upset that this is not centered and that we've got it all okay. Perfectionism, people pleasing, passive neglect, personal neglect, self-neglect, or maybe not so passive, self-neglect. And then here's a fun one. Resentment. So these are sideways forms of anger. And as I began to learn the different ways that anger can look, what I realized is it's not that I don't do anger. I'm actually quite an expert at anger. I'm just in that transformed, transmuted, sideways, little weird anger. Because it's more acceptable. Because if I do it that way, I won't be rejected. Because when I learned about anger, and when I learned my relationship with anger, and when I learned about the dangers of being angry as a wee little one, in relationship to the people that were taking care of me, that said, andale, that's not okay. You don't do that. From someone that has to provide you with shelter, food, protection, you learn to do something different. But it's not that it's not there. It just gets transformed. So we adapt and we learn really innocently, because expressing anger was just not okay. And in the same way, some of us were taught that anger made us powerful. And so we learned to wield it like a weapon. We learned it by watching the world. by watching the people around us, right? It was taught to us, whether it was by our parents saying, yes, you go and do that and be angry, get what you want, do what you need. Or we saw it in the world like, what is it, the Wolf of Wall Street? I mean, just think about it. I even remember trying to be more angry because I saw that people who were more angry got more out of customer service. It was the most uncomfortable thing that I have ever done. And I felt so horrible because I can't believe that I just talked to that person that way. I've been on the other side. I have done customer service. But I didn't know how else to get the thing that I wanted, and I was angry and I was upset. So I tried on the thing that I saw in the world that sometimes works. So when we don't do the suppression of anger, we're doing the discharge of anger. So the examples that we see in our world is yelling or raising our voices, blaming and accusing, criticizing, saying things that later we regret with customer service agents, becoming controlling or demanding, slamming doors or throwing objects, sending the angry text or email immediately. I've done that once or twice. You can't unsend, you can't unsend, you can't unsend. Control Z. No, it doesn't work. Ruminating and rehearsing arguments until anger grows. I definitely have ruminated. I've stayed awake, replaying, and becoming physically or emotionally aggressive. But what is anger really pointing to? Because remember, anger is just like the check engine light, right? It's on the dashboard and it's trying to tell us something. Anger may be pointing to a crossed boundary. We have a boundary for ourselves and someone crossed over it. It might be telling us that we have had a value that we hold dear violated, or that there's an ignored truth, something that we hold dear, and it was ignored, even though someone else may have known about it. It might be an unhealed wound that we've had for a long time, and somebody just poked at it. What is it? You might not have installed the buttons, but you pressed them, or I don't know. What is that install the buttons thing? Like I'm pressing the buttons, but I didn't install them. I don't know, something like that. And sometimes when we have the experience of anger, it might actually be information, like there's an emerging calling. There's something that's calling to you that your heart wants to be a part of transforming. So our emotions, it's important to realize, are not commands. Our emotions, anger, is not a command. They're guidance. They're information. But spiritual maturity isn't about becoming less emotional, right? We still get to have our emotions. It's about becoming more conscious of what our emotions are trying to teach us. So we have the emotion. It happens. We're having the emotion. We're not trying to squelch it, but becoming conscious of what it's trying to teach us. The goal isn't to suppress our anger, or be ruled by it. It's to listen to the intelligence within it. So Arun Gandhi, who is the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, says in his book, Legacy of Love, My Education in the Path of Nonviolence, he says, use your anger for good. Anger to people usually means something negative, but anger is like electricity. It's just as powerful and just as useful, but only if you use it intelligently. It can be just as deadly and destructive if you abuse it. If we channel it, we can transform anger into a power that can move the world. Anger, to me, is a gift. What a wonderful way to begin to transform the way that we might look at anger, right? Because anger, a taboo emotion for many of us, when we think of it as taboo, where are we putting anger? We're putting it outside of the divine. But what we talk about is that there's nothing outside of God. Everything is within the light, the expression, the creation of the divine. And so anger is part of the expression of the divine. So how might we begin to look at anger as a gift? Anger reveals what is ours to do. Here's the fun part. Ready? Ready? So it doesn't simply reveal what's wrong. It doesn't just reveal that there was a boundary that was crossed or something that was ignored about a truth that we value. It's revealing what belongs to us. And sometimes that's setting a boundary, right? Now, it's just, oh God, it's okay, I'm going to forgive. No, was a boundary crossed? Or was there no boundary and you need one? So sometimes it's setting a boundary or speaking a difficult truth. Oh, here's the work, my friends. Here's the work, beloveds. Because this is the part where we gotta deny ourselves. Because we get to this part where we get the information, what's mine to do? And we're like, it's a little too hard. I have to set a boundary. I have to speak my truth. My throat chakra is not cleared yet. Okay, go work on your throat chakra, whatever. It might be leaving a harmful situation. Protecting someone vulnerable. If it's happening within an organization, changing that organization. It might be forgiving. It might be beginning ministry. Advocating for justice, perhaps. Or creating something new. There are lots of ways that the message of anger can reveal what belongs to us. But we need to listen. Viktor Frankl, in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Because sometimes we're not able to do something out there. Sometimes we feel like we have our hands tied. And visionary anger, which sometimes comes about, especially in our times that are so tumultuous, visionary anger is not simply political, as we often see today. It's deeply personal. It's the moment that we hear, this cannot remain the way that it is. This cannot remain the way that it is. And that might be internal. I cannot continue to do this. I cannot continue to allow myself to do X, Y, or Z, or to behave this way, or to inflict this thing upon myself, or in a relationship. This cannot remain the dynamic between me and this other person, or in a group. This cannot remain. And it grows, and it can grow, and it can grow, and it can grow. But it is the moment that we hear that. This cannot remain the way that it is. And it's loaded, right? It can be loaded with, The question then is, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? Back in 2020, Belinda and I had just moved into our house in Albuquerque. COVID hit. We were in lockdown. This is an example of what you might think the call is, but you want to ask. You want to ask. I heard on the news, the story had just broke about the immigrant women that were being sterilized without their permission. The Latina women in 2020 that were being sterilized without their permission. Being a Latina woman and understanding the absolute core value of motherhood in the culture. being a Latina woman, being a woman. I was enraged. To know that this was happening without consent to women, imprisoned women. I went out on my back porch. I was so angry. I said, God, what is mine to do? I cannot stand by. I have to have a role to play. What is mine to do? And I was literally shaking my fist in the dark night. Expecting, am I going to make a sign? I've never protested anything. I don't know. What's mine to do. And I heard very clearly, oh, beloved, you're already on the path. This is what ministry is. This is your ministry. Your ministry is love. And the distinction is I listened. I asked. I was angry. I was enraged. But I paused. What is mine to do? Wisdom chooses the response. How? It's the sacred pause. It's that simple. It is that simple. And also, when you're filled with rage, when you're angry, it doesn't mean it's easy. Because when you're angry, right, you notice. You want to notice that you're angry. I am in the midst of anger. You want to see it, right? But then you want to pause. I don't have to act on this feeling right away. You want to be curious. You want to ask, and you want to listen. What is this anger trying to tell me? And then you get to choose. You get to choose instead of reacting. Now I get to decide the wisest response. The pause is where we invite in spirit in a moment that might feel furthest from God. My friends, animals have stimulus and response. Humans have the capacity for awareness between the two. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Viktor Frankl. That pause isn't simply about calming ourselves down, but it can help. But it's also about allowing wisdom to join the conversation. Allow wisdom, allow the divine into the conversation of just anger. Zoom. Anger delivers a message. Wisdom decides what happens next. There's discernment. We need space for discernment. Spirit doesn't ask us to suppress anger or act out. Right? It's all in the divine. Spirit does not ask us to suppress anger, and it's not asking us to act out. Spirit invites us to become conscious enough that love is making the decision. Love is making the decision. Anger alerts us, and love responds. Let me be clear. This message is not about how do I stop being angry. This is not what I'm talking about. Anger is part of the expanse of our emotional experience. It's a gift. It's the check engine light. I invested a lot of money in my little vehicle, And when that check engine light goes on, I want to make sure that I tell Belinda that the check engine light came on. She needs to know about it. Then I'm angry. She said, and then she's angry. It's not about stopping anger, quitting anger, no longer being too holy to experience anger. Now that anger has shown me something important, what is love inviting me to do? On that back porch, love invited me to say, darling, you cannot step off of this path of ministry, even though you're scared, even though it's taken you so long. You cannot. There is work to be done, beloved. So, my invitation this week to all of you, because anger happens, right? Anger happens. Scorpio, I'm gonna get you. That's how I do it. I get real mad. I get hot fast, real mad, and then it's over. I'm like, what are you still mad about? Why are you mad? I don't understand. It's over. It's not over for everybody else. I'm just over it. But anger happens. And we may not be so adept at being able to catch it in the moment when we just start out trying to. So, my invitation to you is journal about a recent moment of anger. Just journal. Sit down. Pen and paper. It's important. Pen and writing is really important. Even if you like to type it into your phone or your laptop, please. K. Not okay. K. Please. Paper, pen. Write it. Write about an experience of being, a recent experience of anger. What was the deeper message your anger was trying to deliver to you? Just be an inquiry. What was the deeper message that check engine light was trying to deliver to you? Were boundaries crossed? Values ignored? Or truths denied? And reflect on how you responded. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. That's not what this exercise is about. Just reflect on how you responded. Then ask, what might it have looked like to channel that energy with love and clarity? What might it have looked like? It's just the starting point to begin to recognize that there is a message there, that there's something beyond the check engine light, not the black piece of electrical tape, and not punching the dashboard, right? Something else. Opening up the manual, perhaps. Taking it to a mechanic. And then meditate or contemplate your answer. Just take some time with it for yourselves. It's pretty easy. It's not a big ask. In this philosophy, my friends, in the science of mind, every emotion, including anger, is part of our beautiful human experience. And it becomes and can become a doorway to greater awareness. It can become a gift. Anger can become a gift. It's not something to fear. It's not something to suppress. It's a messenger from within. Back to the title. I knew I would do it. Drawing our attention to something that needs our conscious care. It just is alerting us to something that we need to take care of within us. And we want to take care of ourselves. Yeah? Yeah. Our practice isn't to react from anger or deny it, but to become curious enough to pause and to listen, right? As we bring our awareness to our anger, we move from reaction, stuffing, all the bad things, depression, not taking care of ourselves, critical or lashing out, being angry, mean, bad letters, calling customer service people, all those poor people, come on. Right? It helps us to move beyond that. And then anger is no longer destructive. It becomes a force for healing, truth, compassion, and meaningful action. What are we here for? We're here to transform our lives. We're here to transform our experience of our own personal life. But we are also here to be transformative in the world. When we begin to do the work of loving and taking care of ourselves and how we engage with our own emotions and stop lashing out and stop hurting ourselves, now we can have a meaningful relationship with the rest of the world and transform it. I devil dog dare you to engage differently with your anger. Love that baby. Love your anger. It's telling you something. It has information. So the next time anger comes knocking on your door, instead of asking, how do I get rid of this thing? Maybe ask, what, beloved, have you come to show me? Because every emotion has its own intelligence. And this can be a doorway to greater wisdom, compassion, love, and ultimately, freedom. 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 Let's pray. As I know and I anchor in, as I anchor in, to the truth of the one life and the one spirit that I call God is right here and right now present. It is in the vibration of my voice. It is in every word that has been spoken. It is in the heart of every individual that has heard the words. Was in the moment of fresh air this morning when I stepped out. And I felt the freshness on my skin. In the middle of summer, I felt the freshness on my skin, and I delighted at the gift of the divine. I know that power and presence, that joy, that freshness of life is right here in this room, that it is in every heart that can hear my voice. That it is in the life of every person that can hear my voice. It is in the midst of every challenge, of every joy, of every frustration, of everything that makes us angry, of everything that makes us sorrowful, of everything that makes us cry and laugh and overjoyed. The power and presence of spirit is everything. It is right here and right now. It is worry, it is joy, it is anger, it is love. And I know and declare that the power and presence of that one life is moving within each of us and all of us, inviting us to embrace the gift of all of it. That we might experience freedom. That we might experience the gift of information. The gift of knowing what boundaries have been crossed. And a loving response. Whatever that loving response might look like. I know that each person, that each of us walks safely through this world, that we are held by the divine, that we no longer need to worry. That we have within us, the security of the one life that created the entire universe, the one life that holds the planets in orbit around the sun. The genius, the power, the majesty of spirit is that life that lives and breathes us. And so we can walk with certainty that anger isn't a piece of information. We can listen, we can hear, and we can, with confidence, respond with love to all of it. We can be supported in that response. We can lean in and ask those that love us to lean in with us. I am so deeply grateful for this community. I am so deeply grateful to know that the divine is right here and right now. I am so deeply grateful for this philosophy that teaches us that our words are powerful. And so I speak these words from a place of power, from a place of knowing that the divine is speaking them through me. And I release them. I let them go, knowing that it is done. It is done now. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.